Hey everybody, as always, I hope you're doing well. I'm here with an update on what has happened in Washington, D.C. this week, so let's get started. This week, we welcomed a special group to our nation's capital, law enforcement officers, the men and women that protect our community, in celebration of National Police Week. Police officers, sheriff's deputies, federal officers from every state came to Washington, D.C. as they do each and every year, including dozens from St. Lucie, Martin, and Palm Beach counties. I was able to thank them for all that they do to keep our communities safe, to protect and serve us. I couldn't love these men and women more. We love what they do. I'm proud to be able to see them out on the road on a regular basis, just see them around town, spend time with them, some of their families, those who lost their loved ones in the line of duty over the last several years for the Fallen Officers Memorial. They were there for that. There's so much that goes on surrounding this event that really comes close to the heart. So it was great to see all of these individuals and thank them for all that they do and all that they will continue to do in the future. It was a great week, made even better knowing that we've once again got President Trump in the White House, who has the backs of those who are in uniform. And we know that after years of Joe Biden's soft on crime policies, which is exactly what they were, the defund the police, the propaganda that they put forward, President Trump has made it clear that we're going to stand strong with the thin blue line and ensure that they have the resources that they need to do a job that is always dangerous and very often deadly. And that's exactly what we voted for on the House floor this week. We passed several bills, including a bill to ensure the Department of Justice is accurately tracking the attacks on law enforcement and the availability of mental health services for officers by enhancing how we collect and analyze information. This bill gives agencies the tools to respond more effectively and improve officer safety and their wellness and their way of life. We also passed legislation to allow retired officers in good standing to purchase his or her service weapon when they leave the force. Now, currently, the federal agency that issued the weapon is responsible for destroying it, which, not surprisingly, is costly. I don't know any retired officer who doesn't carry and letting them purchase their service weapon that doesn't think that this is a common sense fix that saves the taxpayers money. And it ensures that any retired officer who wants to is equipped to protect his or her family. And we know that it's personal. This is the service weapon that they carried. It means a lot personally to be able to take that from service onto whatever you do following that service. It's a big deal personally. So switching gears, I want to talk about something else. This week, we kept working towards passing President Trump's big, beautiful bill, a bill that will rein in federal spending, give tax cuts, more tax cuts to the American people, and codify into law the tax cuts that we put into law back in 2017, the ones that the Democrats constantly just say, oh, they're only for the wealthy, but they're for everybody, like the doubling of the child tax credit, the doubling of the standard deduction that 90% of Americans take. They like to say, oh, it's only for the wealthy. Totally not true at all. And everybody would realize that if these tax cuts were allowed to expire, it would be the largest tax hike on Americans in American history if they expired. So we're not only looking to codify into law the tax cuts that would expire, but make sure that we have more tax cuts coming forward. There's a number of great proposals moving forward. Some of you have heard about them before, like no tax on tips or no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, things like that. There's much more that's coming. So as you may recall, last month, I worked with the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee to complete our portion of the reconciliation package. That meant repealing the Biden-era Green New Deal spending and other costly mandates that had been going on from the Biden era. Now, this week, my colleagues on other committees like the Ways and Means Committee, the Energy and Commerce Committee, the Agriculture Committees, they worked through the night, literally with meetings lasting 24 hours or more to complete their portions of this big bill. Now, in particular, the Ways and Means Committee finished legislation that will extend the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, like I was speaking already, that I was proud to support in my first year in office. That was what we did back in 2017. And that means families in our district, they keep more of their hard-earned money in their wallets, and that small business can continue to do things like write off equipment purchases, reinvest the money into their employees and into their communities. Make sure that they're not taxed on 20% of what those small businesses bring in, which is a big deal to small businesses. Maybe maybe most importantly, it stops the largest tax hike in history. We can't beat that drum enough. Stops the largest tax hike in history. It's a big deal. But even though it stops the largest tax hike in history, I'll bet you're not going to see any Democrats vote on it when it comes through the House of Representatives, because they just don't really care about making sure that that's the case. And they've been lying about the tax cuts for the last 8 years at least. So now the Budget Committee is going to work to compile all of the different portions of this bill, the ag portion and the Ways and Means portion and the E&C portion, put them all together, and then it will go to the House floor for approval. So we're not quite at the end zone yet, but we've moved the ball down the field and we've got a little bit of time left on the clock to get it done. So as always, stay tuned. We'll keep you updated on what's going on with that. Finally, I want to thank all of the folks who came to Washington this week representing the maritime industry, from marine manufacturing to leaders of our local ports, our Ports Council. We are able to have important conversations about pro-growth policies that support a $40 billion industry. As you likely know, I'm now chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, but petitioned for and was granted a waiver to keep my seat on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee because it matters to our state, it matters to our community, the Port of Palm Beach, the Port of Fort Pierce, all of our waterways, everything that goes on with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Those are things that we deal with on the Committee of Transportation and Infrastructure. I serve on the subcommittee that deals with maritime transportation so that I can continue to advocate for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast and help advance policies that keep our local economy growing. Whether it's regulations at the ports or taxes on boat repairs, I want you to know that we are dealing with all of it, and if there's something that I can do to help, I hope you bring it to my attention, because we don't always know something until you, somebody in business or somebody that's being affected personally, you bring it to our attention. You say, hey, this is happening in the world, or this is happening in life, or this is happening with this federal agency. As my representative, can you help us deal with that issue? And then you know what? We pick up the bat and we swing it as hard as we can, and we go to work on that issue. So please always give us that opportunity to go to work on these issues. As always, on that note, it is an honor to serve you. I look forward to seeing you all around home. I wish you all the best.